name's Angela, and I'm the youth leader here at Sacramento First Church of the Nazarene. So 1 Peter 2:22 through 23 tells us, "He never sinned nor deceived anyone. He did not retaliate when he was insulted, nor threaten revenge when he suffered. He left his case in the hands of God, who always judges fairly." So today we're going to talk about Jesus as our defender. See, when he was here on earth, he did many amazing things. He healed a blind man. He healed a leper. He raised a man from the dead. We think about all of these miracles that he performed, and it might be hard to imagine how anyone could think anything bad about him. But guess what? Jesus was not without his critics. He was criticized, and he was mistreated. He was completely misunderstood, but he had done nothing wrong. Here he was walking around doing all of these wonderful things for sick people, for the people no one wanted to be around, right? He should have been considered a hero, but he wasn't. He was criticized, but did he respond in anger? Did he respond in childish retaliation? Did he lash out with unkind words or actions? We already know the answer to this is no. This made me really think about the way that we handle criticism. I know I personally hate being criticized at all. I cannot handle people correcting me because it makes me feel small. It makes me feel like I'm stupid or like I'm a failure. Deep down, I know that I'm none of those things. I know that I'm intelligent and I know that I'm not a failure. But hearing criticism causes me to have doubt in myself. Why then do I feel like it's okay to criticize other people? Because I do this. I hear myself doing it. When someone says things in a way that I wouldn't, or when someone makes a choice I disagree with, I hear myself being critical. I truly believe in the era that we live in, where people are free to speak their minds online, we have all become more critical of one another. We sit online on our phones and we see things that we disagree with, and we feel that we have every right to comment or start arguments with people that we may not know over something completely stupid. For example, I love to cook. Everyone who knows me knows how much I love to cook. I always joke that it's because I'm Italian, but the way that I show love for people is by cooking them food. I love to make giant lasagnas and cakes and cookies, pretty much all the really fattening stuff. But because I love to cook so much, I'm constantly looking at recipes online. I follow several chefs on Facebook and I watch their cooking demonstrations. And literally every time I go to the comments, there's an argument because some random person will post how they wouldn't have added this, or the recipe would have been better if the chef had done this, or somebody should have done it that way or this way. Now, there are times where I feel the same way. I'll think to myself, well, if I had made that, I wouldn't have added mushrooms because mushrooms are disgusting, right? But then inevitably someone else will respond with some nasty comment that leads to two people fighting back and forth. Usually other strangers get involved, then name calling starts, and then it becomes personal with people attacking motivations and intentions. And every time I see this, I am completely blown away by how ridiculous it is. Like, people are literally arguing over a recipe. People are being critical over a recipe that they probably won't ever even cook. Why can't people just not comment or move on about their day? Why can't you just not add the mushrooms if you do make it yourself and you don't like mushrooms? In the past, I have joined in on these things, and I have said to people, just don't do it if you don't like it. And I've engaged in these arguments over petty stuff with people. And then I remember how angry I get when people have said things to me that I haven't agreed with, or said things that were critical of me. Especially when people say things about me that aren't true. My first instinct is always to fight back. I want to shout my truth and defend myself, and I want to prove that I am right. I want to yell and scream and cry and call everyone who will listen to me and explain my side of the story. But you know what I've learned, guys? It's not worth it. See, you are always going to be the villain in somebody's story. No matter what you have done or what you didn't do, for that matter, there is always going to be someone who believes something about you that may not be true. And they are going to say hurtful things about you. They're going to tell other people about this horrible thing that you supposedly did. They're going to never think good things about you, and no matter how hard you try, because in their mind, you are wrong. Does that sound vaguely familiar? Remember earlier when we were talking about Jesus and the time he spent here on earth? He was doing good things. He was here on earth performing miracles. He was saving lives and healing desperate people. Yet there are some who still believe that he was a villain. There are still people who believe that to this day. The important thing is to remember that Jesus didn't go around arguing with people about who was right and who was wrong. He didn't go around trying to justify his actions. He wasn't on Facebook or Twitter posting all of his good deeds to prove what a good guy he was. He wasn't fighting with people about what ingredients to add to a recipe. He knew in his heart that what he was doing was good and right and just. So my point here is, if your heart is right with God, you don't need to worry about justifying your actions to anybody. If you can honestly and truly say that your heart is clean and you have done everything you can to please God, you don't need to worry about pleasing anyone else. Joel Osteen said the following: "We all have people who come against us and make negative comments about us. We spend too much time worrying about what they think, trying to defend ourselves and prove to people who we are. Why don't you put your reputation in God's hands? He said he will defend you and he will vindicate you far better than you could vindicate yourself. You don't have to retaliate, get even, or prove that you're a nice person, or even convince them to change their mind, because God can do it better than you." So remember this the next time you are tempted to argue with someone to prove your point. Remember, the next time someone criticizes you or casts you as the bad guy in their story, the best thing we can do is pray for those people and pray for our own hearts to be pure and clean and right with God. Thank you.